Hi, I am Tony Nadal, and you are listening to the Double Bagel.
Tony, welcome on the show. So tell us where you are right now and how have you adapted to life the past few years, not traveling on the tour?
Good. I think I adapted well. I was really happy when I traveled with Rafael, but I am happy too here in the academy, trying to help to improve the youngs that we have here. And in my age, sometimes to travel a lot is not too good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, has the change from coaching your own nephew to coaching students at the academy been a difficult one or very easy for you?
No, it's not easy. Today is more difficult to coach someone. And of course, he's my nephew. It's not too good that I say this, but I was really lucky that I can coach my nephew because my nephew was always a correct guy, a man, a guy who want to listen to, one guy who was always obedient. Today is not too easy to have these kind of people because the youngs are more difficult now.
I mean, after you left Team Rafa in 2017, Carlos Moya and Francisco Roig have been coaching Rafa full-time. What does Carlos and Francisco's coaching style bring to Rafa's game? And how is it different from your coaching style?
I don't know. It's difficult to say that for me because, of course, when you watch how he's playing Rafael now or these past years was a little different, but I think it's not only think about the coach, is think about the player. Played the same Federer when he was 25 or when he was 35. No, he changed. He changed a lot because he knows that he cannot run a lot, and then what he has to do to be more aggressive. And I think it's the same that Rafael has understand. I remember the last meeting that we have, Rafael and me, to prepare the next season at the end of 2016. I remember when I said he in the academy, it was he and me alone, and I said, Rafael, you cannot run like before. You have to be more aggressive. You have to go more to the net, and of course, you have to improve the serve because at your age you need to improve the serve. And I think when Carlos arrived, I think give confidence to make this, to make the serve faster, and that was important.
With the increasing use of technology in coaching, such as biomechanical studies and statistics, how has your coaching philosophy changed over time, or has it stayed the same?
I don't like too much the technology because the technology, there are some technologies that help you, but you have to understand, it's the same in all the life. When the technology make the things too easy for you, then you created a weakness. And it's normal, it always was the same. When the older man or woman, no, I don't know exactly the name, but 3,000 years ago, or 5,000 years ago, when we start, no more, 5 or 10,000 years ago, when the man start to help him with stones, then they lose power because they don't need too much power. And this is the same in all the life. When we use too much the technology, then we lose something. And sometimes what we receive and what we lose is more what we lose than what we receive. Of course, there are some technologies, I don't know, statistics, no? You know that when you play with Federer, you have to play, when you play on the right side, you lose 40% of the points or the 50. When you play in the other side, you win 60%. Okay, but you have to put the ball there. Is the message we can know. The statistics, everyone knows. But at the end, the most important thing is to put the ball there. And this is not a think about statistics. And about the coach, when I coach Rafael, I don't watch statistics, never. I use too much the technology because I put attention. And I try to know why the ball make this. Always what I did when Rafael hit the ball and the ball goes out, I give the repetition from there to here, no, again, and then I can understand why the ball goes out. At the end, the most important thing is to think.
Yeah.
The most important thing is thinking, and sometimes we lose this with the new technologies.
I mean, I want to go back to Rafa's junior days. At what age did you think Rafa had the potential to be a very good player? And what was the exact moment that made you realize this?
Always, I knew. When he was 7, I spoke with my brother, his father. Of course, I spoke only with his brother, like this, no? And I say, I am sure that your son will be a Spanish champion. Because before I coach another one who was number 2 in Spain, and my nephew has more talent, has more decision, and for this reason, I think. And then Rafael was always good. When he was 8, he was for his age very good. When he was 11 years old, he became a Spanish champion. Then when he was 12, he won the European Championship. When he was 14, he won in Tarps. Then always you can understand, you can believe that he can be a very good tennis player. And there is another thing. It's impossible to work hard, to work with a real motivation when you don't believe that you can achieve the goals. For this reason, always, I believe that he can be a very good tennis player, because I wanted to believe. He was good, but I wanted to believe that.
Can you tell us the story when you were with Rafa when he was young in Carlos Moyes' house having dinner? It was an interesting story I heard.
Yes, yes. Was many years ago. I think Rafael was 15 years old. We went to the Carlos Moya house because he invited us for a dinner, Rafael and me. He was in Barcelona, and during the dinner, Carlos Moya asked me, do you sign in a paper, can sign in a paper that in the future Rafael will be so good like Albert Costa. Albert Costa was the top 10 player, was the number 7 in the world, and was the Roland Garros champion, no? And it was not easy, no, to be like Albert Costa. Rafael was young, good, but no more. And I answered to Carlos, no, of course, I don't want to sign because I believe that he can be better, and I prefer to, okay, to try, no? And immediately Carlos Moya told me, no, it's not easy to be Albert Costa, like Albert Costa. But I said, I don't want to sign. And after that, he asked me, do you sign that in the future Rafael is so good like me, like Carlos Moya? And okay, I said, okay, you were 5 years on the top 10 players, he in the top 8, then he won Roland Garros, you won Roland Garros, you finally in the Australian Open, #1, and I said, I have to sign.
Yeah.
Because I was in his home. But when I closed the door, when we say goodbye and I close the door, the first thing that I told to Rafael, that I say to Rafael was, never I sign this, because I am sure that you will be better than him. And I said, for me, it's not enough to be a Carlos Moya. This is what happened this day.
And what was Rafael's reaction when you told him that?
No, I think Rafael has always a good. He was to convince. He convinced him that he can be good, and many times, always I said to Rafael, many times I said, you are not good enough, but you will be good enough. All my life, and then I think he thought that he can be very good, and he always he's ambitious. He want to be so good, and when he was young, he wanted to.
I mean, what would you say is the happiest moment of your coaching career with Rafa?
I don't know what where was the happiest moment. I was lucky because I have many good moments, many big moments. No, in Roland Garros, the first Roland Garros, the first Wimbledon, the first Davis Cup or Monte Carlo. Many good moments. But for me, like a coach, I think I was happiest when I was coaching Rafael, him and Akor in the older club, where we try to improve the forehand or the volley or the serve or the backhand. And because for a coach is, you know that you are more involved when someone is young. When you are on the tour, the work is done, and it's different. But of course, I was really happy in Wimbledon or in Roland Garros.
I mean, talking about the 2008 Wimbledon final, many regard that as the greatest tennis match ever played. Would you agree? And how nervous were you watching Rafa in that 5th set?
I was very nervous all the time.
Yeah.
Not in the 5th, not in the 1st set. I remember that I watched the clock that was in the court, and I remember well that the clock was only 12 minutes match, no 12-minute match. And I said to Carlos Costa, who sit down close to me, I said, so long, I have to be afraid so long. I wait for 4 hours that and at the end was longer. And for me I think is the day that the worst day for me on the court during all these moments. And the the day that I was more nervous.
Mm. I mean, how does Rafa react to a loss? And was Rafa ever emotional after a loss?
No, Rafael accept well the defeat.
Yeah.
Of course, there are some defeats that are really tough, no? I remember the defeat that we had in the Australian Open in 2012
Yeah.
was tough. The defeat in Roland Garros 2009 was tough. But you know, when you are a player, when you are a coach, everyone knows that when you arrive on the court, you can lose, you can win. Sometimes you have to lose. It's a bad moment, but we cannot do more.
For sure. I mean, Tony, you've been well known for being tough on Rafa in his junior days. I've heard stories that you used to shout at him, you used to play with bad balls on bad courts, and apparently a young Rafa would come home crying after practice. What did you hope to teach Rafa by being so tough on him?
Good. I was tough because I wanted to prepare my nephew for the future. I want to prepare. I knew that to be one of the best will be not easy. Will be very tough. For this reason, I wanted that Rafael was really tough. And it's easy to say the things for to be tough, but didn't work, don't work. At the end, you need facts. And I was tough. I make, you said, I make practice Rafael with bad balls, with don't drink water, or because I wanted that he can I don't know the name exactly, but I wanted that he can say one more.
Right.
And because at the end, I knew that the people who normal can stay a little more there is the people who has more success. You know, is you can win an easy match, but normally is think about to be tough, to be very demanding. I was very demanding with him, but always I tried that he was self-demanding because I thought this is what makes the difference.
Did it ever worry you that being so tough would make Rafa quit tennis?
No, because I was tough some days no. And for example, I remember one day Rafael went with a tournament with another coach. I sent another coach when Rafael was young. And I say to this coach, please don't be tough with my nephew. I am tough enough.
Yeah.
Not everyone. No, I make this bad work. You don't need to make. At the end, is a thing that sometimes tough, sometimes a little more, a little less. And I have to see when someone, you cannot to be tough always. And always when I was tough, I think Rafael saw that I make for him, not for me.
Yeah. I mean, many would say Rafa is one of the greatest competitors in tennis, if not the greatest. What role did you have in shaping his mentality, or was he naturally that competitive?
Of course, he has a good mentality, natural mentality. Yeah. But at the end, is a thing about to work hard. When Rafael was young, every day was like a final. Because always I want a big commitment with what he has done, no? And this is what make Rafael tough. It's not a thing about to play with on hard courts or on back courts or no. The most important thing is that when Rafael arrived, I said, okay, like the final. Every day, I wanted that he was totally focused with what he has to make, and I wanted that he never goes down. I don't like the people who is frustrated immediately, you know. And Rafael is, I think, is the only guy, the only player that never broke a racket.
Yeah.
Because of his end. Because for me this was impossible. I wanted the respect of everyone, and the respect for the things. But two, I wanted that Rafael knows that there is no place to frustrate it. Because when someone is frustrated, is because he thinks that he's better than really he is. No? And okay, when Rafael makes some mistakes, always I said, Rafael, Sampras make mistakes. It's normal that you make a lot of mistakes. Don't worry with this. Be correct and try again. Try again. And this try again, it was what made the difference.
Mm. I mean, you talked about shaping Rafa's character. How important was it for you to shape Rafa's character rather than shape Rafa's technique?
Good technique is very important. The people think that Rafael has a bad technique. Rafael has a very good technique.
Yeah.
Rafael has a very good technique because he has a very good forehand, one of the best in the world, backhand, one of the best in the world, with a good movement, a good technique. The forehand, when he play on practice, he's always with a very good technique. When he played the tournaments, he's a little afraid and he changed the movement.
Over the head.
Yes, but when he watched, always when he was young, always I wanted that he play normal, like Federer or like this, no? Yeah. But then we arrive, he start to make this, but his technique is really good. The volley, I think, is good enough, and the serve is the only thing. And the serve, he's a right-hander, you know, and for him with the left hand was a little too difficult, and the technique in the serve was never too good. It was difficult for him to improve, but the technique without good shots is difficult to have a strong mentality. Many times the people say, oh, Rafael is very strong. He's very strong because he has a very good shot. When you have a bad shot, it's too difficult to be strong, because when you want to put the ball on the corner, you put the ball out. When you want to put the ball on the right side, you put on the left. And it's difficult to be strong.
I mean, do you think the character you helped develop made him more resilient to all the injury he suffered all throughout his career?
Yes, the character is very important on the game, because not only on the game, the character is very important for everything, not only on court, outside the court. And always I put a lot of attention about this, because I know that it's easier to become a very good tennis player when you have a good character, when you are a correct people, when you are obedient, when you when you have a good commitment, then the character is very important. I know, and the character helped him to become a very good tennis player. Of course, is without this character was more difficult.
I mean, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic have arguably been Rafa's greatest rivals. How do you prepare Rafa against both of them, and what do you say to Rafa before he plays Roger or Novak? Is it positive motivational messages only, or negative stuff as well?
No, that depends on the day, and that depends of how I feel Rafael. I remember many times when we have to go on court, and depends when I watch Rafael and I see his face, his eyes, then I know, or I think I know, and I don't say during all these years, I don't say always the same. Sometimes I said something to push him. Sometimes I said, don't worry, and other times, be careful. That depends how I saw. But in a big moment, in a great final, normally I try to motivate him with good things, not with bad. Sometimes with bad. One time, many years ago, I remember, because Rafael don't want to play, no. Rafael was so tired in the final in 2009, the final in Australian Open. Rafael played a very difficult semi-final. He won after 5 sets, 5 hours, 50 minutes. And when we went to prepare the final, 3 hours before start the final, he was really bad. No, he has painful in his shoulder and his arm, headache, then the legs, so tired and bad face. And I remember I went to him and I want to change his face. I want to change his attitude. And then I said to Rafael, okay, Rafael, do you have to change? Because with this face, it's impossible to play well. And he told me, today is impossible to play well. Today, for me, is impossible to run. I am so tired. I have all these things. And I say, Rafael, this is a lie. You tell me a lie to me, and you tell to you a lie. At the end, everyone always can make a little more, can make an effort. He told me, no, this today I cannot. And I say, okay, if it's your decision, it's okay for you, but I have to say, now you are bad, very bad. You tell me no. After 3 hours when I start the match, you will be not better. Maybe you will be worse. And I have to say, in 3 hours, when you go to the court, you can know that, know your mom, know your dad, know me, know God, come down to help you. You have to know if you want to make this effort or not. He told me the last time, today is impossible. And I say, if someone with a gun was on the crowd and want to shoot you when you stop the legs, I am sure that you can run. Then you have to make this time, and then, okay, is the time that I talk a lot with him, too much. I told during 2 hours in the same way, and after these 2 hours, I have seen that Rafael changed his face, and then I changed my speech. I start with "Yes, we can," the slogan of Obama. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. And repeat you, and this is that depends. This day, I told many times like this. Other days, I told, okay, different things. That depends.
I mean, who does Rafa prefer playing out of Roger and Novak?
I prefer to play against good, better. I don't prefer to play against anyone of these two guys. I prefer to play with others players, but Federer, a little more with Federer. Because with Federer, I thought we have a way to win. Against Novak was more difficult because he defends. You know exactly what you have to do. but it was not a big difference.
Mm. And final thoughts, Tony. With Roger now at 40 years old, Rafa at 35, Novak at 34, why do you think the younger players have yet to start dominating the men's game?
The commitment for me. And the youngs, not only the youngs that Medvedev or Zverev, no. It's the normal life. We live in a life where we have to receive the things very quickly. And normally the life is don't work like this. And then now the youngs, when the youngs play well, they are really good. But when the youngs play bad, when they have a bad day, they are not good enough. This is one of the biggest difference between these three and the others. When Tsitsipas play well, play like good, like Djokovic, Federer, or Rafael, Medvedev is the same, or Zverev. But the difference is when the things goes wrong, they don't have the same commitment. And what makes the difference is this: the level of Federer, Djokovic, or Rafael when they play bad is so high. That will say that they have more chances to win a big tournament, because during these 2 weeks, sometimes we play bad. And when you play bad, like, I don't know, Djokovic, sometimes he play bad, and then when arrive the final, he plays still good. No, when so one of these youngs play bad, they lose. This is the difference.
Tony, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for your time. And hopefully I'll see you one day at the academy one day.